Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Post Fight. And in this edition of Post Fight, I'll be doing Post Fight UFC Fight Night, Strickland versus Magomedov. So Strickland versus Magomedov Post Fight. So for the card, I went 7-5 or 7 of what 12, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 7 of 12, 7-5, 7 of 12. Not great, pretty terrible when you consider that I've had 4 locks for this card, and 2 of 4 went through, and the other 2 did not go through. So, anytime you got locks not going through, that's not a good thing. I'm glad my card was able to turn around at the end there. I think I went on a 3 streak. Yeah, I had Morales, then I had Grant Dawson, then I had Sean Strickland. So, it ended well. And ultimately, I came up +2 after coming off a week where, my first negative week of my first negative weekend or of the year. Or actually, it's been a long time. It's been longer than a year, to be honest. It's been a minute. It's my first negative in a long time, and the first negative of the calendar year 2023. So to come back and get back on the plus side is good, but to have 2 of 4 locks not go through is terrible. Especially in the way that they did not go through is terrible. So yeah, let's just get through this card. I'm gonna run through it pretty quickly. I ain't gonna dwell on anything too much, except maybe the locks that didn't go through. So those 2 fights, the other fights don't really care too much about them. So first L was 5 L's. First L was Petrovic versus Carolina. Literally said low confidence, just low level MMA. Anything can happen. They could have still gave it to Petrovic. They wanted to, they could do whatever they wanted. There's low level MMA. And yeah, ultimately, I just don't care about the fight. Didn't put no investment in that fight. Did not care about the fight. Didn't put no investment in the fight. Petrovic did not look good in the tape I saw of her, but Carolina, she didn't look good, from watching her in the UFC. So like, literally coin flip. But both of them are still, I don't know how to judge it. I feel Petrovic could evolve, maybe stick around the UFC a little bit. I feel like Carolina is just gonna get set up to fight, somebody that's actually got a little bit more experience in the UFC, and they're gonna eat her up in her next fight, probably, most likely. So I ain't don't want to talk about that one too much. It was like, do I really care about Petrovic going forward? No. Do I really care about Carolina going forward? No. I had to look at the fight some more. If one of their fights come up, they have a fight coming up, and they're like, oh, I got to look at that, study this more. What weaknesses can I find in her, or what strengths or something? But as far as like generally post fight, like I don't know, I don't care about the fight. Post fight, pre fight, did not care about the fight. The second L was the one of the big L's. It was Kutalaze versus Elvis Brenner, like Guram Kutalize or Laze, whatever. Guram Kutalaze versus Elvis Brenner. And yeah, Kutalaze started out pretty well. He was looking good through 2 rounds, but then that third round, like, kind of got that middle portion. I think Brenner hurt him to the body real bad. Then was able to finish him up. I think the final thing was like a real good short elbow, but definitely set up with that body shot in the third. That's all it takes. Like, you have the momentum, it's a fight. At the end of the day, it's a fist fight. It could take one shot on the chin, you sleep. One shot on the temple, you sleep. The perfect, like, well timed, well positioned body shot, and take the wind out of yourselves, and the fight's over. But Kulaza didn't look. He looked good at the end of the first. Okay, and it's kind of flat in the second. Third, he just kind of looked drained, and then that body shot just took whatever he had left in him. But yeah, I guess as far as like, this is supposed to be about what can you learn from this one. And it's just an age-old lesson. You always gonna have your time when you kind of gonna ignore the rules, ignore the stuff, and just go with a pick and make it a lock, or go high investment in something because it just feels right, or it's just you feel like, yeah, this and this is not there. Like, these variables aren't here, but I feel comfortable enough, or I feel confident enough to go lock here. But yeah, the variables weren't really there. Kutalaze, yes, he looked okay against. I mean, he looked competitive against Demir's Magomedov. Yes, he had a win over I forget his name right now, Matus Gamrot and whatnot. Split decision, which I feel he lost. But hey, yeah, the guy really was like, did he lose 2 fights? He lost to Demir's Magomedov. Matter of fact, yeah, he like 1-1. Yeah, he was like 1-1 coming to fight. It's not like he had a resume of in the UFC like he 5-2 or 5-0 or something. Like, it was no real proven resume. He was like 500 in the UFC. It really could be 0-2 in the UFC. Now he's 0-3. I mean, he's 1-2, but yeah, it could really be 0-3 in my honest opinion. If I was the judge, he would be 0-3 in the UFC. It's like he don't really have the track record. So Got a 500 record. Should never really be a lock unless it's really just he going there with legit scrub. And Elvis Brenner is not a scrub. And again, I think again he looked good through the first two. Well, he was leading through the first 2 rounds. But I'll take that moment. Did he ever look good in this fight? Probably in the first round. But I don't know what I'm even trying to say here. But I guess what I'm trying to focus on though, just focus on where you went wrong, where you could learn from it. And if there's not like a proven track record or a proven style advantage or style mismatch, like again, either a skill mismatch or a style advantage, style mismatch or whatnot, that's when you kind of go lock. Or a historics, like, oh, this guy is an armbar specialist, this guy doesn't do well with arm bars, or this guy is susceptible for overhands, this guy's an overhand specialist or something. But yeah, none of those variables were there. You got a guy who's 500 in UFC, kind of been battling injuries in and out of UFC, can't get a fight, or keeps falling out of fights. Yeah, he shouldn't have been no lock there. Probably high confidence. I can't shake the high confidence. And also the fact that the fight, he was winning the fight until he wasn't. But I think going forward now, ain't gonna be like, okay, so Guram Kudalaze's a bum. It ain't gonna be that. Ain't like, oh, he's a bum. I'm picking against everybody against nah. It's not going to be that. But I think going forward, it fully confirmed that Kudalaze, all that hype is done. He's not gonna be. I don't see no top 10. Well, yeah, I don't see him really breaking to the top 10. At most, probably top 15. Probably not even that. Yeah, I think his hype definitely done, but he can still pick up some wins and also probably get some good value on him. I think now that the hype's not there, I feel like you'll get him at a discounted value, and they're probably gonna set him up with a matchup that he should win. But hey, this was a matchup he should win too, so they don't mean break the bank on it, or yeah, don't break the bank on it. But you definitely get a discount rate for him in the next fight, depending on who they match him against. And I feel like they will match him up with a more favorable matchup, even though this was supposed to be a favorable matchup. I think his next matchup will be much more favorable. And Elvis Brenner, I feel like his value is going to jump up a little bit, so it's probably hard to pick him, especially not going to really be able to get him as a dog as much. But yeah, I still think he's going to be able to come at a good value. I don't think it's going to be a case like he's going to be a minus 300, minus 400. He probably like start being a minus 200 instead of being that plus money he was in his first fights in UFC. But yeah, good win for Brenner. Good adjustment, stay tough. Good mental toughness to stay in the fight and be able to find those openings and get the job done. Like, didn't quit on himself and say, "I'm down 2 rounds. I'm just gonna let this guy just close to a decision on me." Now he said, "I can find a finish. I'm gonna chase it." So, going for Elvis Brenner, his stocks rise tremendously. So, second L, third L. What's third L? Third L. Oh yeah, next one was Ismail Bonfim versus Benoit. It's Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit, like Chris Benoit Saint Denis. Yeah. Chris Benoit. Wait a second, I'm saying the crippler. He turned into the crippler. Benoit, yeah, Benoit Saint Denis. Yeah. Yeah. Versus Ismail Bonfim. Yeah, that was a lock. So that was the second lock. So the first lock that, went terrible. So the two locks, it was Buram pooped the bed. Ismail Bonfim pooped the bed against Benoit Saint Denis. And I really didn't, really factor this big factor in there till it was too late. And I'm not saying like, oh, I saw this factor and then like I knew it and then I made these big adjustments and like to do that, I did not. I did not. But I see, hindsight 2020. Like I started seeing people saying like, oh, Benoit's gonna win. I was like, why is that? Then like, I already made my pick, already did everything, stuff. I look back and and also somebody saying, oh, he's an excellent back taker. And like, started connecting dots a little bit, but I was like, all right, okay. Now I looked at Ismail Bonfin's record. I think, early on in his career, way back, he has had time to evolve and whatnot. But early on in his career, he saw a couple sub loss by a rear naked choke. And here we go. Fast forward to today or yesterday. Gets submitted rear naked choke. Excellent back taker. Has a past prior history of getting a rear naked choke. Fast forward today, get rear naked choke. But I think this is a case of you shouldn't really go lock when it's a case of these are actually two real good prospects. Even though it seemed like stylistically, Bonfim should have had a clear advantage. He had shown, his contender series fight, he went in there with a good wrestler, showed good takedown defense, good grappling as well, to be able to keep the fight on the feet. I know he would be able to use that against Benoit Saint Denis or Saint Denis, Benoit Saint Denis. People we making fun of how I'm saying his name or why I keep saying his name. I don't know how to say the man's name, but yeah, that past record. But as far as what to learn, again, it's just the same thing. Don't go lock. Locks are good when you're going with historic, both of these guys 40-year-old veterans and stuff, and you know this guy loses to such a thing, this guy produced stuff, and they both, I don't know. Got the 40-year-old veterans that you already seen fight 50 times, so you know how they gonna fight and who's the better of this and who style favors this matchup. Or it's even though this fighters even in their 20s or 30s and stuff, you know how they fight, their styles and stuff, and you have seen them fight. Or it's just again a clear disadvantage or clear advantage, then that's when locks. But when it's just we've only seen so much of him. I'm talking about as far as really watching the live time. Gabriel Bonfim and both also Benoit Saint Denis. We only have seen so much live tape of them, watch the fight, watch the card. Only a handful of fights, literally only a handful of fights, 2 fights for Ismail Bonfim and 2-3 fights for Benoit Saint Denis. So that shouldn't have been a lock. But I also think it's not just a case of it's bad predicting in there. I also think what's the name? I think Benoit Saint Denis set him up well. He started attacking the body kick well, and I think that frustrated Gabriel Bonfim, or at least he got him a little bit fired up and started looking for big counters and looking for these big shots, which made it easier for Benoit Saint Denis to take his back, shoot takedowns and also take his back, because now you're swinging big shots. You're creating an opening for me to shoot a shot, shoot a takedown, and then from there work to take your back and stuff. Yeah. So excellent game plan. Again, I think this goes back to ultimately the same thing. The lock should be locked for a reason. It shouldn't be a lock just cause. And I'm thinking about, I was already thinking about my prediction next week. I was thinking maybe some locks here, locks there, but I think someone's gonna be adjusted to high confidence or average confidence. But yeah, just thinking about keep that in your mind. You could get trigger happy sometimes, you could get real confident sometimes, but just look at the stats and look at look at all the variables. They're not there. That's not a lock, and this one wasn't a lock. I mean, it was lock. I picked a lock. You can't go back in time, but it shouldn't have been a lock. That's all I'm saying. Based on all the factors or the lack of some factors, it should not have been a lock. Go in for Benoit Saint Denis. I think he'll go for it, but I definitely still see some holes in his game. I see where Kevin Lee fits into the picture. I see where he fits. So, yeah. But it ain't about where to pick Benoit Saint Denis. Good win for him. I'm going to see how they match him up with, and I can see if those holes come. I said holes like holes. To see if those weaknesses come into play in his future fight or future predictions for a future fight. But good win for him, and he showed a better fight IQ and better resolve out there, and was able to get the job done. Gabriel Bonfim I'm saying Gabriel, I'm calling him his brother. Ismail Bonfim is going. If I said the name 20 times, Gabriel, it is what it is. It's Ismail Bonfim. But anyway, yeah, he gonna have to make some adjustments. He can't be getting caught and played in fights like that and overreacting. You gotta stay sharp and stay on his toe. I mean, stay on his game. You get out of your game. That's at this level, you gonna get exploited. I said exploited. That's what he did. So don't want to get exploited again. Don't get exploited. You don't want to get exploited. Don't get exploited. Don't fall into no one's game. Don't let no one get you riled up. Don't let no one play you like that, like he got played. And yeah, that's the 2 of 2 locks that failed. The other 2 locks went through. Who was it? Miles Morales. I said Miles Morales. I don't know his name. Michael Morales and the easiest one, Brito, that went through. So those 2 ones too. But yeah. Now I got the Ferreira loss to Rizboev. Ferreira versus Rizboev. I'm gonna say that's the 4th of 5 L's. Rizboev versus Fiera. And yeah, that one's like hindsight's 2020, but really that one I think that went high confidence with that one, but it should not have been high confidence. That's gonna be my talk for every single pick. Yeah, it should have been high confidence. I mean, it should have been high confidence, but I went high confidence. But yeah, what am I saying? I think let me just get down to the bread and butter of this thing, or the meat of this thing. Fiera never really was the most technical striker, or is I'm talking about like his post mortem like he did. I'm reading his eulogy. Fiera was never the most excellent striker, but he had heart. He was strong. He was the Hawk, and he gave it his all. But his all was not enough, and that's life. But yeah, Rizbov had a questionable record, but he was a pretty decent striker, decent overall fighter, pretty well rounded. But I guess the biggest factor to zero in on is the fact that Fiera isn't the best striker. Rizbov at least looked like he had decent enough awareness of wrestling and grappling and stuff, like solid enough in there that he probably could address the grappling of Fiera. Then he has that huge height and reach advantage over Fiera. And again, Fiera isn't the most technical striker, and as I said in the video, he got holes in his game. And I said holes I said personally. I said it on purpose, purposefully, on purpose, because y'all was making fun. Well, one guy was making fun of it, but if one's making fun, multiple are making fun. Yeah, he had a big height and reach disadvantage. He isn't really the most technical striker, so a lot of times big load up shots, and he got caught trying to throw kicks with a guy who got like a whole foot over him, and he got sniped for it. Like, you throwing this kick, you straight on the line, you're gonna lean off, get hit with a cross. Again, that just goes back to the weaknesses in his game. And the larger, taller, lankier fighter was able to find him, on a straight line or a little bit veered off line and catch him with a cross as he was throwing his kick, just spear to time him and put him out there. So, yeah, Fiera, not really the best game planning guy, typically. Not the most technical striker, and give him a lot of height and a lot of reach. Against a guy who, should be able to address the grappling for the most part and be able to snipe him, given all that height and reach, and that's what he did. Going forward, can't really feel too confident about Fiera, but Fiera's a guy, he could be 50-50. He can knock anyone out, he can submit, or not submit, but he can stop anyone, and the right people can stop him. Like, it's like looking like Fiera's going to be a kill or be kill fighter. That's probably the best thing to look for with this one. Like, when you go with Fiera, going for it, he's either kill or be killed. That's the most likely outcome dealing with Fiera. He's either going to kill this one or this one's going to kill him. Rizbov, the fight was so short and so little was said about the fight that you really can't judge. I don't think Rizbov is going to have no great UFC career. I think he might pick up one or two more wins, but I can also see him as a guy, once somebody, figures him out, stops him, beats him pretty handily, I feel like everybody I know who this guy is, I know how to beat him, and everybody going to start following the blueprint. I don't feel like he's such a good fighter. I feel he had a good stylistic matchup, a good frame, for dealing with the guy he was fighting, and it's set up for a big win. But yeah, I feel like it's not a performance that says like, oh, we had 15 minutes to see him. We saw his wrestling at this level. We saw his grappling at this level. We saw how he dealt with adversity. He was able to take advantage of flaws in his opponent. That's about it. You can't really take too much of it, except the fact that, hey, he at least can show the ability to take advantage of flaws in his opponent. So good for him. And then fifth and final L, and not a whole lot to say with this fifth and final L. Ariane Lipski. I said Lipski. Ariane Lipski versus Melissa Gatto. Yeah, what happened with this one right here is, I feel Melissa Gatto clearly won. I would say 2 rounds of 3. First and second clearly went to her. Third round, I would lean to Ariane Lipski. But I think the issue is maybe she was on the back foot too much, and they saw Ariane Lipski is the aggressor, so that probably was the factor. But she still got landed by like 20-something strikes in the first round and like 25 strikes in the second round. The third round was relatively the closest round, but she was on top, and she landed her hardest shots in that round. Nothing crazy, but she landed the hardest shots, and she had the top position, so she won that round. But you shouldn't win a fight just for being aggressive or being the one walking forward or trying to cut the cage off when you're getting outlanded so clearly. But yeah, bad decision, but I got away with the Rosa decision. Rosa should have lost to Yana Santos, but they gave it to Rosa. So I got away with one. And then in Ariane Lipsky versus Melissa Gatto fight, um, I was on the wrong end of the stick. So I can't, like I always say, like, if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I can't be mad about it. Like, because it's gonna be times where I'm gonna get away with one. It's gonna be times when I'm on the wrong side of the stick, or the wrong side of the track, or the wrong side of the decision. That's probably the best way. On the wrong side of the decision. But yeah, ultimately, to factor back, the biggest mistakes, biggest thing to take on is the locks that didn't go through. That was the biggest mistakes on the card. The Kutalaze and the Bonfire. Not because they suck or it was a bad prediction. Obviously, any prediction that's not right is a bad prediction or not a good prediction, but it's the level of confidence given the fact that these guys didn't really check all the boxes to deserve to be locks in this necessarily cases. And also, we're not checking the boxes in that low confidence. You should also draw back your investment or dial down your investment, is what I'm saying. And some quick little more takes. Not Demir. I'm about to say, yeah, Demir Magomedov versus Grant Dawson. That's a win for me. Good win by Grant Dawson. He looked very good out there. I don't know if Magomedov going to retire after that or contemplate retirement, but he definitely knows where he needs to work on in his grappling, wrestling defense. That's where he needs to work on. Grant Dawson looks good, and I think he can excel in this division. But I don't think he really has much for Islam Makhachev or the elite of the elite at this weight class. But hey, he can rise up the ranks, and I think he's going to rise up to number 12 or something now. But great win for Grant Dawson. Demir Magomedov just leaves more questions, but he knows. But it's not more questions. It's not even a question. He knows what he needs to work on. Like, is either you gonna work on this, or you feel you can work on this and improve this, or if not, retire, I guess, or go to a different league or something. But all depends on time. And then the main event, Sean Strickland was able to pick apart Demir's. That's what I say. He fought Demir's Magomedov too. He picking on welterweights now. Well, lightweights. Now it was Sean Strickland versus Abus Magomedov, and it went pretty much how I thought it would, except it was the second round TKO instead of third round TKO. Abus didn't really accomplish much of anything. It was a case of just a guy with a random hype on him for whatever reason. I guess his last name, and a first round finish in 19 seconds over a bum or a can. And Sean Strickland just took him out the first round and stopped him. That's as simple as you can say. Like, the guy had one round of cardio, come with a lot of steam. Sean Strickland just stayed calm and composed, defended his shots well, stayed in his face. And Abus just got tired, and Sean Strickland just kept pressing him and got him out of it. That's as simple as it went. This showed a lack of experience for Abus, lack of cardio, a lack of awareness in his own cardio, his own gas tank, and his shot selection and all that stuff. Like, so he threw all the steam. So whether he has bad cardio or he just didn't manage his strikes that well, or manage his gas tank that well, or a combination of all the above, he just ended up having one round of work and then just gassed outside of that. He had a couple good body shots, while he was tired, but Strickland just ate those, stayed in his face, kept tagging him, and just wore him down and got him out of there. So good win for Sean Strickland. I don't know why he's calling for a title shot. That was not a title shot worthy fight. Even he said he's just fighting a guy who beat up a can in his debut, and there was nothing special about that. And then you beat the guy who beat the can, and who had one win in the UFC, now one loss in the UFC, so a 500 guy. You beat a guy who's 500 in the UFC, and now you talk about a title shot. Maybe you should be looking at, I want the loser or winner of Robert Whittaker. Well, not probably loser. The loser of Whittaker versus Duplessis. That's what he should be talking about. Or the loser of Duplessis versus Whittaker, and then maybe from there he could get a title shot, because just beating Abus Magomedov ain't gonna get you no title shot. I mean, he got some other wins, but that ain't gonna get you no title shot. As far as Abus Magomedov goes, you need to go work on some cardio, take some step down in competition. But either way, I don't think the guy can go very far in the UFC at all. I think he might be able to pick up some more wins, but I feel like he has a very low ceiling in the UFC. We're never really high on him at all, and even less. His stocks drop even more now. So his stocks weren't very high with me to begin with, and now they drop even lower. Strickland's stocks go up a little bit, but not a lot of it to be talking about title shots. At least not in his next fight. Maybe one more win and then a title shot, or again, somebody gets injured or one more win, then he's in there. But yeah, just beating a boost of Magomedov ain't gonna get you no title shot. It should not get you a title shot. But maybe Duplessis or Whitaker get injured and he can step into that fight, or again take the loser. Then he could beat the loser and get a title shot potentially. But yeah, that's the video. Again, went 7-5, 7 of 12. Not the best card, but a decent enough bounce back. But the big issue again was the going 2 of 4 on locks, and that's not a good look. That's not a good thing ever. Never a good thing. But got to make the adjustments and come back better. And I know what I need to do, and I'll do what I need to do to sharpen up. So that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.